man. It tells you the way it is. This is episode 39 of the Gaming Roundtable. I'm playing a little King of Fighters 14. But kind of in a mood for fighting games. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Pull up a seat at the round table, grab a cold one if you're able. You see, I was a toss-up lately of buying some fighting games, and I started going on YouTube, and I was looking up different ones from MKX. I've been playing Mortal Kombat since the first game came out. Street Fighter V, been playing Street Fighter basically since Street Fighter 2 came out in the old arcade days, you know, way back when, 20, 30, 25 years ago. And the King of Fighters, which I've been playing, you know, King of Fighters, Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury, and that for some time. And this episode is called Fighting Games and LTG. And if I must throw out, what is LTG? LTG is a YouTube personality. He's a person who plays, hey Pam, is a person that plays Street Fighter V and some other fighting games. Primarily Street Fighter is his kind of cup of tea. And I came across him on YouTube by accident, and he streams and people pay him, and he plays Street Fighter tournaments, and supposedly he's supposed to be this really, really awesome like Street Fighter player. But it's funny how there's a million plus videos of everybody putting up where he's just getting what I guess they refer to as salty. He's angry because he keeps losing in the game, and you know, he complains every time he loses. Either he rage quits continuously because, you know, I'm going to rage quit and lose points in Street Fighter V, or I'm going to do things along that lines. And it's kind of a shame that he does operate that way. I don't know why he does. But that's just kind of what he does, and he also blames lag on a lot of things, and every time he loses, and he uses Urian primarily, and he uses Nash primarily, but he does do a lot. But what's funny about him is that he loses a lot, and I went online on my computer and wanted to see, hey, I want to look up some Street Fighter like tournaments, some tournaments locally big, and figured out if this guy because he talks so much trash, and he talks trash against people he plays against, had he ever really won any substantial tournaments, big money or otherwise. And I couldn't find a damn thing about it, like nothing. And I hope this gets back to you, my friend Low Tier. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, am I good at fighting games? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Even though I have played Street Fighter for a long time, Dhalsim being my character of choice, which you referred to as a cheap character, but, you know, and Ken being my second, Guile being my third. But the point is that, and I also like using Bison here and there, but my point is that, you know, I would never fight you personally in a fighting game because, you know, honest to God, you are a better player than I am. You've spent more time with these games than I have. I am a King of Fighters kind of guy, KOF. I absolutely love Capcom versus SNK2EO because of the cross-platform there. Played lots of Art of Fighting on the Super NES, did different Fatal Furies on the Super NES, and I just always liked the King of Fighters series. I like the characters. I feel like it's got a more cohesive storyline. It's way better than anything Capcom's put out, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm sorry for Street Fighter fans to get butthurt. I am a fan of it, but fanboys, I'm playing King of Fighters 14, and to be honest with you, I mean, it's just it's a superior title than anything Street Fighter V put out this year, and it's just because I think it's just that whole, you know, thing that goes on with that, and because King of Fighters has a cohesive storyline, it's just so much. How it's hard to explain. You'd have to play it. I mean, you got 50 characters to start off with, right? That hands down blows that out of the water. And it's got all your returning favorites and some new ones, and it's got a lot of options, and it gives you arcade mode and training mode and one-on-one fighting, 3 versus 3 fighting. I mean, all the stuff that Street Fighter V was lacking still lacks in many ways. So it's one of the reasons I went with this game and not playing Street Fighter V, even though I was really wouldn't mind having the game because I am a Street Fighter fan. I'm not a fanboy, but I am a fan because I played it for a long time. But Low Tier God is this character that, you know, one of the things that, one of his videos, he actually talked about how much he hated charge characters. He said charge characters are easy characters, they're scrub characters, which he calls them scrubs. And he talks about how he hates charge characters and they're like the worst, and I can't stand charge characters. They're just cheap and they're this and they're easy mode and all this crap. And yet, one of his favorite characters to use is Nash, who is a charge character. So how do you say that you hate charge characters and yet one of the characters you play a lot with is a charge character? Well, first of all, you just contradicted yourself. You can't hate charge characters and call them cheap and call them weak and call them scrub when you yourself use one of the characters that is a charge character. That makes no sense to me. You just contradicted yourself when it comes to that. That doesn't make any sense to me personally. I think that why would you contradict yourself? Another thing that's interesting to point out, and it's something that I've kind of like, you know, realized with this with these characters, or with Low Tier God and, you know, his whole spiel, is the fact that, you know, he loses so much. I've never seen a guy sit there losing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and blame everything on everything but his own skill level. I don't understand this matchup. This guy's a flowchart. This guy's this. It was lag. This guy's cheap. It's so easy to pull combos up. Blah 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 blah. It's always everyone else's, something else's fault, except his own, right? And it's the truth. And it's one of those things that Low Tier God, you know, you talk about being a positive person and having positivity, and yet when you're playing online and the stuff that comes out of your mouth is nothing but negativity. See, you're one of those people that thinks they're better than they actually are. You know, you have this massive ego when it comes to playing fighting games, but you're really not all that like savvy at them. I mean, you do have some skill. You have to have some skill to play any kind of fighting game. That's just the way it is. And it's like, yet, you know, it just makes no sense that you sit there and continuously just talk so much trash. You know, it's on these people and call people scrub characters, easy mode characters. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. A couple things. Fighting games, when you're online playing against the community, and even if it's not fighting games, it's Call of Duty or anything that's competitive, whether it's, you know, sports titles, whatever, when you play against a person, they want to win at all costs. You know, that's why you have quick scoping in Call of Duty, so they can run around with a heavy ass sniper. That's why fighting games, people will rely on the same strategies over and over. You know, I'm a Soul Calibur guy. I'm pretty decent at the game, but I'm not great at the game. I'll never, you know, talk shit that I'm like this badass player, because I'm not. I remember going online with Soul Calibur 5 and Xbox Live, and Soul Calibur 5 added counter unblockables and unblockables. You can pull them off as regular moves. They do a shitload of damage, and you get online, and every single person would always be picking Nightmare, that character. It'd be 2 or 3 characters, Patroclus, and 1 or 2 characters, and it was just over and over and over and over again, because those characters had counter unblockables that could go right into an unblockable, and they could just sit there and you know, juggle you until you were dead. Like you had nothing you could do about it. And it was cheap, and it was bullshit, because that's what they relied on to win. But you know what? At the end of the day, they got the win, right? You know, I didn't have to play them, but I did. And eventually I decided, you know what? I don't want to play online. I'm not going to play ranked matches. I'm not going to play online with these people, because they are doing the shit, anything they can do to win. you also talked about, these easy mode characters. And I've seen, 20, 30 videos already of people who put the stuff up there and you talking about these characters. Let me tell you something. Every single character, including your precious Nash and your precious Urian, are easy mode characters. They're scrub characters, like you call them. You sat there and said Ken and Rue and Akuma and Cammy and Bison and Dalsim and Zangief and Birdie, and I think her name's Micah. She's like the wrestling chick in Street Fighter V. I mean, almost 90% of the roster you have basically stated are scrub easy mode characters. And but you don't say that about the two characters you use the most because you have this thing for them. And it's kind of like, well, first of all, Nash is just a Guile clone in many, many ways. Except he does a clockwise, like, flash kick, and Guile does a counterclockwise. They both have sonic booms. They're essentially the same character. In many different ways. They have similar move sets. He's just a carbon copy clone in many ways. And Urian is just this, bait and switch kind of character anyway. And watching you play as Nash and Urian, I have sat there and watched. You're right, Pam. I have watched you play these characters, and you rely on the same fucking moves over and over and over. You jump so much with Urian. You do the knee, you do the jump in the air, knee like attack coming down, trying to open people up. You rely on the same shit over and over and over again. And when someone else does that, you tell them, you say they're trash, they're garbage. You get mad, you rage quit, you turn your mic off, and all this bullshit. Like, dude, every character on Street Fighter, you got mad at a guy playing Zangief because he was, this scrub, he's throwing too much. He throws and does this, of course, he does this. I'm like, but he's a thrower, he's a wrestler. The characters like Zangief and Birdie and those characters are big, bulky characters. They're not for speed. They don't have fireballs. They're designed to get in close and wrestle you, do grabs, do throws. That's the strategy of that character. And if you're going to fault somebody for actually playing to that character's strength, dude, get the fuck out of here with that shit. I hope this video, someone, somewhere amongst my subscribers, get this to you so you can see what I'm talking about. And of course, you would completely disagree with everything I'm saying, but dude, your Urian is trash. Your gaming with Urian and Nash are trash, right? You rely on the same shit. I'm Nash. You talk about, he just hits down and back and has to constantly charge, and I hate charge characters, and yet you do the same thing. You're like, slow sonic boom to begin with, trying to set up a guy, hopefully he jumps so you can do this. I mean, you play the same way every time. Dalsim's a cheap character. Dalsim is not a cheap character. You just don't have any strategy against them. And every time you start getting low or halfway down on your health, the first thing you do is freak out and be like, oh my god, and you start making mistakes. And then you blame all those mistakes on weak players and trash players. But dude, I looked you up. You've never won a tournament as far as I can see. Anything that was legit tournament. Now, you may have won a local here or there because that's kind of hard to look up. But I can't find anything that you have won, like personally. And you get mad over this stuff with these fighting games. And it's like, that's ridiculous, dude. You have no reason to talk, and you don't, because you're trash, dude. You're trash. I hate to say that to you, but it's the truth, because you shouldn't blame everybody else and characters and stuff for your inadequacies at a game. I mean, sorry, dude. Hate to burst your bubble, but it's the truth. You have the problem, dude. You do. It's not anybody else, and that's the truth. And it really bothers the hell out of me when I watch your videos and you sit there and talk all this shit. And then when someone gets on your channel and they're all like, hey, that guy was pretty good, you tell your moderators to ban them, because that guy don't always ban. You ban everybody. You treat people like crap, right? Karma's a bitch, motherfucker. That's why you lose all the time. You can't even get your shit straight or your fundamentals down with the game straight. And that's a shame, because it shouldn't be like that, but it is. And it is. And you shouldn't be sit there and talk shit like that all the time to people and spout hate. And you talk about being like you want to be this positive character, but you're not. And you're not. You know. And it's a shame, because it shouldn't be like that. But you are. And I tell you what, I'm not saying that generally on a personal level that you're a bad person. I just think as an online player, you're nothing. You are nothing. You're one of those people that blame everything on your losses. I mean, you rage quit out, dude. Oh, I'd rather I'd rather lose points than let him have that win, because I can't accept a loss. So you're a sore loser, is what it is. If you're playing people online, they're going to do what it takes to win. Whether or not I agree with how they fought you, but you're a sore loser is all it boils down to. You feel like you're a much better player than you are. Dude, when you win, which is very rarely I've seen in these videos, it's because out of sheer luck, or that other person made a cardinal mistake in that fighting game. And that's the truth. You can sit there all you want and be like, no, that's not the case, but that is the case, and it blows my mind that you blame all this other shit on on everybody else. And that's a shame, because I don't know why you do. Why do you blame everybody else? Like, you shouldn't even do that. And it just bothers me, because I like fighting games, but you're one of those people that suck the fun out of going online and fighting games. Just like those people who used to sit there on Soul Calibur 5 and pick the same one or two characters, knowing that they can infinitely juggle you and you had no chance to win. Just like people on Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 would always pick Dante and Virgil, because there's an infinite air combo that you can do nothing against, that within the first 10 seconds you're beat. If they get the first hit off, you're done. And people did it over and over and over and over and over again. I got to the point that after a year of playing, I rarely ever saw anybody use anybody but Dante and fucking Virgil and fucking Wesker. It was the same three people over and over. And they did that because they knew they could get an easy win. Was it right? No. But I just said, you know what? People are going to do what they're going to do to win. That's what it's about. They do what they can do to win. All the characters in Street Fighter are easy to fucking play. Most of them have the same fucking thing. Half quarter circle and a button, half circle and a button, down, forward, down, forward, whatever it is, the shuriken, it's forward. It's like forward. It's like, what is it? Forward. It's like that Z. You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to explain, never had to explain it before, but my point is they all have that, or they're a charge character, or you hit a button real rapidly and they get a special move. So many people are like that. Stop bitching, low tier. Stop bitching about your inadequate skills, right? Instead of just playing Urien and Nash, and that's the only people you want to play as, do what I do. Play as fucking everybody. That way you learn their strengths and their weaknesses. That way, once you know the entire roster inside and out, if someone picks a character, let them pick it first, and you can be like, I'll probably use this character against that character because. It's called chess, my friend. It's move and counter move. Guile and deceit. That's what it's about. So I sit there and bide my time. I might have favorites, and just because, I might absolutely love me to play some, Dalsim. To be honest with you, I also can play as Ken, Rue, Chun-Li, Vega, Balrog, Bison, Guile, Cammy, Fei Long, DJ. Should I go on? Because I learned all of those characters. So I can play equally well with all of them. I'm not trying to be the best fighter out there. I don't even play this fucking damn game online because I already know. So, low tier God, my friend, I'm telling you this. And I know it sounds like I'm shitting on you, but I kind of am, because you are the one that's the problem, not everybody else. Learn your shit, buddy. Learn your shit, right? Stop bitching about every fucking body else online, and it's their problem. Because it could never possibly be you. It could never be you playing poorly. There's no possible way it could be you, right? No way, right? No, can't possibly be my fault. No way. You could never accept that, could you? Everyone, I guess so these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and if not thousands of people over the last year that you've played online, all different people from all different walks of life, all of them are terrible players. They're fucking horrible. You're the only good player on the planet. I've never even seen you acknowledge one player and said, hey, that actual guy was good. He was better than me. Because you just can't admit that someone could be better than you or is better than you. I'll tell you right now, there's a million people better at me than that King of Fighters and Street Fighter and everything else under the sun. However, I would have loved to have played you on Killer Instinct back in the day, the original one, and to give me my TJ combo. I would have wrecked your ass with him, because that was the one fighting game that I put fucking 2 years into and played the shit out of, and won a local tournament, by the way, and I got $200 for winning that local tournament using TJ combo, and kicked ass, because I was that good at that game. But that was the only fighting game for some reason I just really was compelled to get good at. And to this day, there's people amongst my circle that will tell you, Thomas is the shit. People's Machine is the shit. Juice Man is the shit. I got all kinds of names, people, but I'm primarily the Juice Man. But anyway, I digress. Fighting games are fun, people. They're supposed to be about fun and the spirit of competition. Whether you're playing Mortal Kombat, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you name it, Killer Instinct on Xbox One, whatever you decide to play, if you do lose, people, chalk it up to a loss, man. Just accept it and move on. There's always, just like in every walks of life, especially like sports or even in like martial arts or UFC or whatever, there is always, or boxing, for example, anything that is a one-on-one kind of fighting kind of contest. You're like Colin McGregor. He can talk, and Colin McGregor's a great fighter, and he is. He talks a lot of smack, but he has losses on his record. And that's that, because as much as good as you might be, time's a great equalizer. Eventually, there's always somebody that's going to be better, and that's the truth. And in fighting games, you might play online, and you might go to tournaments, you might do all this stuff, but there's always going to be somebody better, chomping at the bit, nipping at your heels, and eventually you got to concede. And Low Tier God, with all due respect to you, buddy, I wish you well in tournaments, and I wish that you get really good at the game, and I wish people look at you and go like, wow, this guy is one of the top tier players. But you know what? With your bullshit attitude and you're blaming everybody else, yeah, that's never going to happen. This has been episode 39 of the Gaming Roundtable, talking about fighting games and my buddy Low Tier God. I meant that sarcastically. Alright, thanks for tuning in. I'll be back soon with another video, maybe a little less hate spilled this time. And as always, gamers, good gaming.